My clothing line is called Mr. Rich, and it's MISTARICH on Instagram, Mr. Rich LA, because it's the LA side. But yeah, and you can also go to my website, mrrichla.com, if you want to purchase some things. And right now we're just focused on kind of basics like t-shirts and certain things, but like it's not just going to be like your average t-shirt. I use like really fun vinyls and things, because for me, fashion is always evolving, and people today, again, trying to be so independent and trying to be so different. Everybody wants to like be outside the box. But for me, I had a moment where I was just like, wait, everybody's trying to be outside the box. What happens when we take what's inside the box and actually make it dope? Yeah? So, you don't always have to think outside the box. Sometimes, since everybody's outside, you need to go ahead and step inside the box and say like, what's in here? What can I actually make really dope in here? So that's kind of what I'm doing right now with the beginning of the line. I'm doing a lot of different kind of prints and funny phrases just because I'm a clown. I like to say really funny things. With you. Yeah, exactly. So I get to express my humor on the shirts. And then also like my flair of fashion, I like to do a lot of stonework and different vinyls and cuts and slashes and all types of fun. But then I also like to do like really fun things like this. So it's like
and he look good.
Right. So my boss actually made this for me. Her name is Maggie
I don't know
Bear.
what the frame is.
Right.
So.
Right. So if you can see. But yeah, so her name is Maggie Bear. She's
I'm gonna
really
die
awesome
if there's a butt in
designer.
there.
Right.
Just I will make the cut if it isn't. Glad you worked out.
Right. But yes, I love all different types of things. I gravitate towards things that I don't see all the time because everybody hates this, to walk into a party or an event and somebody has the same thing you're wearing on, the same dress, the same tee, something like that. It grinds my gears for that.
Everybody in the same vibe. It's like, okay, that's like, just don't like the same.
Right, so all y'all wanted to do the t-shirt and the glasses and the rolled up sleeves, all y'all wanted to do that today? Trends, they bother me.
So you have so many gifts and you have so many different hats. Do you have a favorite hat that you wear? Or is there like...
I honestly am that person that it really depends on the day. Because even like with my fashion job that I have right now, there's so many different facets to it. Like one day I could be shopping for an outfit for a 12-year-old, and then the next day I could be picking up this costume to be delivered to Nicki Minaj, or the next day I'll be doing like 20 sweatsuits for a troupe on Disney, or like it's so left, right, and okay, I'm an Aries, so I am naturally all over the place. I'm literally a triple Aries, so all of my things, like people have like their sun and their moon and like different signs. No, all of mine are
I'd be
Aries.
confused about that, but I'll learn it one day.
Yes. So anywho, look at it. I'm a triple Aries. So like all my rising, my moon,
everything is Aries.
Ascending, it's all in Aries. So I'm the craziest that you can get. So it takes a job like that to kind of keep me interested and keep me happy. Like I get bored when I'm just doing one or two things. Like I like to have my hand in multiple things, and that can be a gift and it can be a curse. When it comes to, especially if you're an artist, if you have multiple avenues of either income or multiple avenues of what you like to do, you can end up not finishing certain projects, or you can end up spinning your wheels and feeling like you're not getting far in things, only because you can give little bits to this, little bits to that, little bits to that. So my advice in that way, only because I've learned, because I've been that person in like 5 different directions at one time, and a couple of spaces in my life, even recently, that you need to take a moment and focus on one thing, get it done, and then move on to the next.
Yes.
So.
I like that.
Yeah, because that's advice to myself, and I'm still telling this to myself right now. Because I'm so that person that's like, oh, squirrel, what am I doing? Like, I'll be here doing something, and then my boss will be like, oh, did you hear about that? And I'm like, oh no, what's that over there?
Yeah,
like,
and then you
that's so me, easily distracted, but I'm working on it as an adult. Working on it. I'm not perfect. Yes.
That's what makes it so fun, though. I love it. Have you had any like mental breakdowns, or because you seem so, you keep saying like, oh yeah, like I tell myself this and that, but have you had any like really hard emotional or psychological times in your life?
I don't remember any in particular, besides like when my father passed. So my father passed when like a few days before like my 8th grade year. And it was hard because like he was like in my life. It wasn't just like this is just like some man I see every now and again. Like we lived in the same house. My parents were still together. Like and we were like the household people dream of. That's what I came out of. Like just like you have both your parents. Like they actually monitor what you do. You don't have like a cell phone or like craziness. I mean, I eventually had a cell phone when I was like 16, but like, that's because I was working and I could pay for it. But like. I grew up in times where we didn't have social media. We didn't have the internet like that. So like you were forced to actually connect with people. Like you had to be there with your mom or your dad. You saw them cook. You saw them clean. You saw them in their times of struggle, which was very, very few for me because like my parents were very good about just figuring out before it even got to us.
That's a blessing.
Yeah. Like we had all of what we needed and most of what we wanted, but like my parents weren't rich, but they figured it out.
I did not expect your father passing thing because you talked about him so strongly at the beginning. And if you are just tuning into this episode, my mom passed this year, but I talk about her like that too. Like people wouldn't even know that she's gone, and I'm like, oh yeah, she did this. And all right, you can plead the fifth on anything that I ask, or I just I don't want you to put out what you don't want.
Oh, you could. I am an open book.
And I love that about you. But can you tell me about relationships and specifically like your romantic relationships out here? It's a struggle in LA. So I would love to kind of hear what happened.
Oh, absolutely. So for me, it's different for me because I'm a bisexual male. And well, I wouldn't even consider it like bisexual because that means I would only like men and women. So I'm a person that is attracted to a person. So if you have a good heart and if you have a great personality, you're doing something that really interests me and I find you attractive, then that's who I'm going to be with. So it's a little bit different for me because my playing field is slightly different. My personal advice when it comes to even dating, date as many people as you can. Literally, like
run them streets. No, I'm just playing.
Not run them streets.
No,
don't be a whore of Babylon.
Yeah. Be careful though.
Right.
Yeah, and he ain't saying sleep with everybody.
Right.
It's
meet
real
on
out
public places.
Yeah.
However, Tinder is actually really good. Tinder is great. I'm actually with my current partner via Tinder.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. Good to know.
Right.
See, fill it out. Use common sense, right?
Exactly. Yes, and like recently I've learned about certain apps that are like really cool. Like there's this app called Circus. It's amazing. Ooh. So it's spelled Surkus.
That sounds tricky though.
Right.
Circus. What does that mean?
I don't know. I guess they just wanted to spell it different so they could trademark it. But
circus sound like any and everybody or different. Right. What does that mean?
Just, yeah. So it's basically right. So it's
act like you created it. What was the meaning behind that? Like dang.
So Circus, it's kind of based in different parts of the world where they have a lot of, how can I say, activities to do. So this is an app that you can go on, and there are free tickets, and sometimes they even pay you to go to certain events.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I used Circus. So the person that I'm with right now, we met via Tinder, and my first date, we went to a reggae concert that I got through Circus. Yeah,
that sounds fun.
Yeah, it was great. We've been attached to the hip ever since. I've gotten some really cool events via Circus. It's really great. Really good.
Dang, okay.
I need to be there.
Brand ambassador,
right?
Yeah.
Brand ambassador.
I hope y'all watching. We're going to tag them when I put this out because, but that's awesome though.
It's really cool.
Have you always been bisexual, or was that
no? That was something that came like later in my life, like towards like the end of high school.
Okay.
It wasn't something that I thought about. I was always a wild and flamboyant person, but I didn't think of myself as gay because I wasn't like looking at boys like ooh. I was like, But like, cause like when you grow up, you're taught from your dad, look at these women, look at this, look at that.
Yeah.
So I didn't really have a chance to like figure it out then until like towards the end of high school. It just so happened I was performing in a show, and oh my God, I'm telling you guys all types of stuff.
Yeah,
so,
no.
This was like my first, same-sex experience. I was in a show in downtown at a big theater, and
Need some tea.
right.
Okay,
You're
okay.
about to get
Let
some
me not
tea.
discourage you.
So I was in a show in downtown Pittsburgh in a theater, and we had just finished our show, and I was leaving, and I was going down the street, and the had chased me down. I was like, oh, what did I do? Is it because I'm black? He was black. But, so he had asked me, like, do you guys do performances other places? I have a club opening up on the south side, and they need people to perform. Little do I know, this was just kind of, to get my information.
Ooh.
Yes. So things kind of, progressed from there, and chatting happened, and certain conversations happened, and lo and behold, it led me to my first experience with a male, where I was like, wow, that could happen? Wow, that's interesting. So from there, that's where my mind started to like open and not be so focused on what I was taught, but versus what felt right to me, and I don't know, just made sense to me. That's another thing that I was blessed to be able to do, is like figure out that what works for me doesn't necessarily, actually figure out what works for other people doesn't have to be for me. Because we are brought up in a world.
That all week.
yeah, like literally we are conditioned to follow. We're brought up in schools to follow. A lot of the history, even in these books, isn't even right, but we're taught to follow it so we can grow up and be a worker for the rest of our lives. We're not taught to be entrepreneurs. We're not taught to grow anything of our own for our people. We're literally just taught this thing that they want you to do to, how can I say, fit into their system. So yeah, I was lucky to kind of have something kind of shift in my brain where it's just like, oh wait, so this, I don't have to, as much as like what I'm doing right now doesn't look like it's amounting to what they're doing, I'm happy. Like my brother, and he's just like a straight up police officer, like working out of jail. Like he literally has his set hours. He has this time he's going to be here. This time, when my life was all over the place, I might go to a dance class here. I might be booked on this commercial there, and things were up and down. But I wouldn't be able to truly be myself if I was looking at everybody else's thing and saying, ooh, I want that, or why isn't mine like that?
And the info that you were saying about learning about your sexuality and everything, what did your family say, or do they know?
They well,
Did you get
God willing, I have a family that I know would love me regardless. Like hands down, I know regardless of what I brought to them, they would love me regardless. Of course, when I was a kid, and they didn't know how to play certain things of like me being flamboyant or wanting to do certain things that other kids weren't doing. Like other kids were into sports and I was into like dance or like fashion. But I wasn't like, ooh, look at the boys. Like I wasn't that person. I was more so just like an artsy person that just liked different things. I would say not even a coming out thing, or just like my family seeing my lifestyle was literally my brother was coming out to California to visit me, him and his wife, and when he arrived, I was like, this is my other half, Antonio. And they were just like, oh, okay. Like I wasn't about to give anybody like an opportunity to make me feel uncomfortable. Like you're just gonna, this is it.
I love
you
that.
show up, you're gonna deal with it.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like a lot of people just need to do that. Like live your best life and stop worrying about what someone's going to say. Don't even give them space.
Chance. I didn't give him a chance.
I did. And again, my brother's like the straightest of straight. Like people like, when I was a kid, again, he would call me like a girl, or he would like make fun of me. But like, that's only because that's what he was taught to do to people that were different. And
then
my father was very
in
hard.
Pittsburgh too.
Yeah, growing in Pittsburgh, like literally straight laced. Like there was almost no LGBT community there that I knew of. Now it's starting to be there and be a little bit more visible, but like everything was so hush hush. Like even like the entertainment and dance scene there is huge now compared to what it was. So, and it's also interesting that growing up with my brother one way, now that I'm older, I respect him so much more. And like we respect each other so much more because we've been able to have like real grown up talks of like how things were before I even, because he's my older brother. Right. So how things were like before I was born, or how he was treated, and what he was maybe allowed to do or not allowed to do, and what I was like. We've had like those kind of talks. So to hear my brother speak highly of me when I took my partner that I have right now back home just to meet my family because I think he's that awesome. To hear like my brother say really awesome words about me and about even like when I was a kid, he was like, Trey was very brave. Like he would just be him, and like it wasn't. Yeah, I was like, wow. Thanks, because I was scared to death of you. Yeah, and at that time, because he would pick on me or make fun of me, I didn't know that he actually looked up to me as a younger brother, like just doing me. So.
And people respond to looking up to bravery in weird ways, you know. But at the end of the day, when they get older, they're like, I actually just really respected it. Yeah. And that's how I knew how to respond at the time. So that's amazing. Are there any closing words that you'd like to tell anyone?
Closing words. Follow your personal compass. I'd say follow your personal compass. What is for you will be for you. And something that may seem janky to you when you compare it to somebody else's thing is huge to somebody. So like really figure out what your thing is, and that's some crying times, that's some trying times, that's some quiet moments, that's some lonely moments. So like don't shy away from the pain, I'd say, like, because the pain is where you grow.
Yes, I love that. Thank you so much.
Of course.
I've learned a lot. As I said, I always want people that have an inspiring story but are still going through their journey, but also just nice people. There's, this is my home set, so it's very important for me to have the right energy come in. And like you have really lifted it. It's like it's lit up in here now, so thank you so much for coming. It is. See, I was hoping he would dance for us on here, and I like it, but if the sign get knocked over, we just got a little wild up here. But the other thing, how can we follow you? And
you can follow me on Instagram. Lord Jesus. On Instagram at The Real Trey Rich. Twitter I don't really use much, but it's Trey Rich, TREYRICH. And then on YouTube, I don't really use YouTube. Like there's some things that I'm building behind the scenes, but that I can't really like divulge and put out yet, but you will be able to follow my own show soon. I'm also on a talk show called Buzz Unlisted with 2 other co-hosts that are awesome, and we talk about the top 10 what the F moments of the week. Oh yeah, and you have to follow my clothing line. It's called
I was about to say, you forgot something.
I did,
but then we went astray.
Right, we went astray. Yes. Be you, because you're the only one that can be you.
That's true.
Okay? You ain't got to be nobody else.
That is so true, and we love who you are, Trey. And thank you so much for coming again. And what's a cool phrase we can say as we go? Well, not cool.
Cool.
What's a Trey phrase we can say?
It's not a Trey phrase, but I truly believe in live your best life.
Live your best life.
Live your best life.
That's what we're going to say at the end. 1, 2, 3.
Live your best life.
Not your mediocre life, but your
best life.
Thank you guys. Have a good one.